You ever stop and think about what keeps our modern world running? Well, a huge part of the answer is sailing across our oceans as we speak, and it's all held together by an invisible rulebook. Today, we're going to crack open that rulebook, the IGC Code, which lays down the law for some of the biggest and most hazardous ships out on the water.
I mean, just look at these things. They are absolute giants. Basically floating thermoses carrying liquefied gases like natural gas, ammonia, or even chlorine. We are talking about staggering amounts of energy, chilled to mind-bogglingly low temperatures, shipped all over the planet. These ships are a critical part of our global economy, even though most of us never see one.
And that is the big question, isn't it? You've got these massive ships with incredibly volatile cargo sailing through some pretty tough seas. A single accident? It could be absolutely catastrophic. So how in the world do you manage that kind of risk on a global scale?
To really get the solution, you first have to appreciate the problem. And the problem is that moving this stuff across an ocean is just inherently dangerous for a whole bunch of reasons.
Now, what's wild here is just how many different ways this cargo can be dangerous. Sure, there's flammability, that's the obvious one, but some of these gases are toxic if they leak. Others are corrosive, meaning they can literally eat away at the ship. And then there's one of the biggest, sneakiest dangers, the cold. We're talking cryogenic temperatures. If that liquid spills onto regular steel, it can make it so brittle, it could shatter like glass on impact. That's called brittle fracture. So, imagine the chaos without a universal set of rules. It would be the Wild West of shipping. If every country made up its own safety standards or had none at all, every single voyage would be a total roll of the dice. You'd be gambling with the lives of the crew, the safety of coastal towns, and the health of the ocean.
And that is exactly why the international community came together to create a solution. It's officially called the International Code for the Construction and Equipment of Ships Carrying Liquefied Gases in Bulk, but pretty much everyone just calls it the IGC Code.
And this quote right from the code's introduction just nails its mission. Notice the word minimize. It's not about eliminating risk, because let's be real, that's impossible. It's about using a shared international standard to get that risk as low as humanly possible. It's a global blueprint for safety.
So how does it actually work?
Well, the code isn't just some generic one-size-fits-all checklist. It's way smarter than that. The whole thing is built on a really elegant and simple idea. And there it is. That's the core genius of the IGC code. It recognizes that carrying, say, liquefied nitrogen is a whole different ballgame than carrying chlorine. So instead of forcing every ship to be a maximum security fortress, it perfectly matches the level of safety to the level of danger that the cargo represents. This chart lays it all out. The code creates three main types of ships. You've got Type 3G for stuff with moderate hazards, Type 2G for the more significant hazards, and then there's the big one, Type 1G. These are the toughest ships, built for the most dangerous products out there. It's simple, right? Maximum hazard gets maximum protection. So what does preventative measures really mean in practice? Well, a huge piece of the puzzle is survivability. Can the ship take a punch? A Type 1G ship has to be designed to withstand a catastrophic collision or running aground and still protect its cargo. Types 2G and 3G are also incredibly tough, but they're built to handle slightly less severe damage, which makes sense for their lower-risk cargoes. But you know, the code goes way beyond just how tough the hull is. It's a truly comprehensive blueprint that dives into pretty much every single nut and bolt on these vessels. I mean, just look at this list. The code gets into everything. We're talking about the specific materials used, the design of the cargo tanks, the kind of electrical wiring you have to use, the firefighting systems, even the safety gear that the crew has to wear. It's an unbelievably thorough top-to-bottom guide to building a safe ship. Okay, so it's great to have this amazing set of rules, but a rulebook sitting on a shelf doesn't do anybody any good, right? How do you make sure every single one of these ships all over the world is actually following the rules year in and year out? This is how. It's called the certification life cycle, and it is a relentless cycle of inspections. Before a ship is even allowed to start working, it goes through an exhaustive initial survey. Then, every single year, inspectors go over it. Every couple of years, there's an even more detailed checkup. And every 5 years, it's basically back to square one with a full top-to-bottom re-examination. This makes sure that a ship doesn't just start safe, it stays safe for its entire life. So let's zoom out. why should any of us care about this super technical document full of engineering specs? What does it all mean in the big picture?
When you really think about it, the IGC Code is this incredible, quiet success story of global cooperation. It's the invisible safety net that allows the entire global energy trade to happen. It protects our oceans, it protects the communities living in port cities, and most importantly, it protects the lives of the seafarers who work on these ships.
And maybe the coolest part is that it's not some dusty old rule book that never changes. This quote shows it's designed to be a living document. As our technology gets better, as we learn more from experience, and as new fuels like hydrogen start getting shipped around, the code gets reviewed and updated to keep up. It's always evolving.
The IGC Code is just a perfect example of these complex systems working silently in the background, making our modern world possible and a whole lot safer. It kind of makes you wonder, doesn't it? What other invisible rules are out there quietly protecting you every single day?